Greetings and welcome to the channel. My name is Dr. Narcissistic. Today we're going to be talking about monitoring spirits, narcissistic abuse, and the empaths battle. How to outsmart spiritual surveillance. Right? So we're talking about monitoring spirits in narcissistic abuse. So surveillance is not just a function of corporations or governments. Some of the most advanced monitoring systems operate beyond the material world, tracking your thoughts, emotions, and spiritual evolution. And these advanced techniques are used by monitoring spirits. And if you are an empath, a healer, or someone awakening to your divine purpose, you are on the radar of these monitoring spirits. So today, we will explore what monitoring spirits are, how they function, and their role in narcissistic abuse. And we'll analyze the historical, psychological, and scientific, even esoteric evidence that explains why these spirits exist and how empaths can outsmart them. So let's start with the beginning. What are monitoring spirits, or what's a monitoring spirit? The term monitoring spirit is derived from the Latin word monere, meaning to warn or to observe. And it's found in various ancient traditions. And let me start with the Bible. Look, from a Christian perspective, the Bible warns against familiar spirits, particularly in Leviticus 19:31. It's associated with supernatural observers. Then in the Gnostic Gospels, the archons, who are the rulers, are described as spiritual surveillance entities that prevent human souls from awakening. In ancient Egyptian mysticism, the Ka, a spiritual double from the spirit, was believed to be observed by unseen forces, which recorded a person's actions for judgment. And in various African traditional religions, let's say Ifa or Yoruba, the spirits called the Ajogun and the Eshu monitor and influence human behavior based on past generational karma. And in indigenous and shamanic cultures, there are these notions of spiritual watchers who track individuals in different realms, often influencing their dreams or energy field. And finally, even in the Theravadan Buddhist perspective, there's this idea of Mara, these demons who monitor awakening. In fact, they monitored the Buddha's awakening and tried to prevent the Buddha's awakening on the night of his awakening. Right? So we know theologically, monitoring spirits operate through demonic assignments, generational curses, or energy parasites like narcissists that keep individuals trapped in cycles of misfortune. Specifically, the Bible, and just to give some biblical references, Isaiah 8:19 warns against spirits that whisper through mediums. There's also the saying in Ephesians 6:12, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers in high places. Then from a esoteric perspective, Hermetic and alchemic texts describe watchers as entities that track spiritual initiates attempting enlightenment. So we know from a scientific perspective, if you talk about the quantum observer effect, the studies in quantum physics suggest that the observation affects reality, mirroring how spiritual monitoring alters an empath's trajectory, you see. And we also know, again, using the Beta-Meinhof phenomena, which is the frequency illusion explains how awareness of an idea makes it appear more frequently in one's perception, similar to spiritual signs. So how do monitoring spirits function? Well, there's spiritual espionage, if we can call it that. And the way these monitoring spirits, which inhabit negative people, act is by collecting energetic, emotional, and mental data on individuals, and then exploit weaknesses, patterns, and fears to orchestrate attacks. Do you see? So it's almost like your permission is needed. This is why these monitoring spirits are people who pretend to be your friends or usually loved ones. And the narcissist as a conduit is because narcissists act as human surveillance systems engaging in energetic vampirism. They operate through hoovering, triangulation, and flying monkeys to monitor their victims. Don't you see? And if you've had these experiences, I want to hear more from you in the comment section, or type transform if I can be of help to you. And the way these monitoring spirits function is as follows. I'll just go through three. One is through dream manipulation. They attempt to extract spiritual information through symbolic encounters in the astral realm or the dream realm. Example, an empath dreams of a deceased relative, warning them of an impending betrayal. That's an example, right? Then there's psychic surveillance, where some people just know what you're about to move on, because we're all energetic beings, so we transfer and transmit energy all the time. So if you don't know how to protect your energy, this is how people's knowledge can be confirmed in this psychic surveillance. And they appear through random text messages from people you least expect to hear from, intrusive social media activity, very intrusive, right? Or coincidental encounters. And then there's also technological mimicry. Social media algorithms track this behavioral data. And the spiritual parallel is monitoring spirits function as ethereal algorithms influencing decision making. So let's go into monitoring spirits and narcissistic abuse. The narcissist is a spiritual spy because they rely on constant data collection. How do they do this? They study your routines, they study your vulnerabilities, and they study your ambitions. So any sharing you do, which may feel like a heart-to-heart sharing, is actually you divulging deep information to an agent who's going to turn around as a double agent and use that same information, that vulnerable information, which you shared as is the normal case in any intimate relationship, whether it's familial or romantic and otherwise, is actually fodder that will be used to destroy you. Then they also use love bombing, devaluation, and hoovering as energetic surveillance tactics, all designed. You see, the difference in the intelligence of a narcissist and an empath is the empath triggers a reaction to confirm their knowing, whereas the empath knows without having to know, because the empath is connected to divine intelligence. The narcissist needs to trigger a reaction to know. This is part of the surveillance that they do. And then they have many dark triad personalities. The narcissist could be Machiavellian, they could be sociopathic, and they unknowingly channel these monitoring spirits. And the spiritual implications for this is an empath who awakens breaks free from the monitoring grid, which is why their escape triggers retaliation. All these Agent Smiths will come after you. Narcissistic hoovering functions identically to psychic cord reattachment. And when an empath detaches, monitoring spirits deploy enablers, flying monkeys, to gather intelligence. This is just the way they function. So what are the implications for 2025 and beyond? Well, first of all, let's talk about the rise of spiritual warfare in the age of AI. Artificial intelligence and digital surveillance tools are sort of mirroring spiritual monitoring on a mass scale. For example, predictive algorithms analyze human behavior just as monitoring spirits do. So it's about data and spiritual sovereignty. You see, the spiritual war is shifting towards information and control. And 2025 and beyond will mark an era where information warfare blends digital and metaphysical realities. So how can an empath outsmart monitoring spirits? Certainly spiritual cloaking, meditation, and energetic sealing. So the kind of meditations that you do to protect yourself and disconnect yourself from psychic cords is very key. Psychological and digital protection, reducing oversharing, identifying spies in your circle, practicing no contact strategically. And certainly, quantum and hermetic mastery, using the 7 hermetic principles, which I have made a video on, such as mentalism, controlling your thoughts, polarity, shifting the negative to positive, and vibration, maintaining a high frequency. So the greatest protection is awareness, and knowledge is your firewall. Remember, no force can stop an enlightened soul from breaking free. If this resonates, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Subscribe for more paradigm-shifting content. Stay aware and protected, and most importantly, stay free, because there's absolutely no one like you. This is your time to claim your sovereignty. Keep ascending, keep ascending, keep ascending. Peace.